Hello everybody, I'm Antonia and this is Noel and we are from Boxtail Soup Theatre Company and we're sat in our studio. We have a few days break in our tour which is going very nicely. I think last we spoke we were rehearsing the Picture of Dorian Gray and probably The Frog and the Princess. I can't remember. Had we done Jackson's Lane?
I'm not sure.
Who knows? It's a mystery. We don't even know what day of the week it is.
No.
But the tour's been going very well. We've had some lovely shows and some great venues. We began in Jackson's Lane with The Frog and the Princess, did 2 shows there to nice full houses, which was lovely.
Yeah, which was really fun. And that's a really fun show to do because it's quite silly.
Super silly.
Yeah, so there's lots of opportunities to play and have a bit of fun with it. So yeah, they were a great way to start and very enjoyable to do.
Then we moved back to rehearsals for the Picture of Dorian Gray for just a few days in a slightly larger space than in our studio because 2 of the main pieces of set won't fit in here. So we went and did that, and then we premiered that as in the sort of new version of that show in the Everyman in Cheltenham, which was lovely because it sort of always feels a little bit like home for us. We started going there in very early days, didn't we?
Yeah, and they were very supportive of us at the very beginning of the company, and it's nice to continue that relationship. So it's always nice to visit there again because it feels quite homey. The funny thing about performing that first show there was that we'd prepared everything technically as well because we've got some floor lights and things in the Picture of Dorian Gray. And we'd gone through all of the lighting states and we were running the lighting, not to get too technical, but we were running the lighting from the stage via the laptop. So it was all ready to go for that first performance. We did the first performance. We had an amazing reaction from the audience. It was really lovely.
We had a lovely, lovely show.
Yeah, we did. So that was great. But what we didn't realise was that the lighting had given up.
It got stuck on Q2.
Yeah, so on the second cue, which was relatively bright, thankfully.
Luckily, it's sort of a general wash, isn't it?
And looked quite pretty. But all 3 of us were saying how we thought the lighting had been changing.
Especially Mark and I. Mark and I were like, oh yeah, the lighting felt really good. You know, there's a bit where we do a sort of foggy night and Mark and I were like, oh yeah, you know, the foggy night felt really dark and foggy. Nope. Absolutely in our imagination.
And I think the audience too, judging by a few things that people said, kind of felt that there had been changes in the lighting.
Well, we had a lovely 5-star review from that performance which praised the subtle lighting, which we thought was hilarious.
To be fair, our lights on the floor were still working and doing changes,
Yeah.
but nevertheless, it was a sort of shared hallucination that we all thought that things were changing. So that was
funny.
Yeah, it was a fun way to start. Subsequently, it worked fine after that, and we had more lovely shows there.
Then we moved on to number 8 Arts in Pershore, where we did another Frog and the Princess, which was another really fun, lovely show. The children just get so involved, and then the adults do too, which is what I love the most, I think. And you've got adults who are sat there at the beginning thinking, oh yeah, great, my child's going to be entertained for 50 minutes or whatever, and I don't have to really worry about them. And then they first relax when they realise they really don't have to worry about them because the kids are enjoying it. But then it's when they then go, oh, hang on a minute, I'm also really enjoying it. And they start getting involved and it really makes me laugh. It's very sweet.
Yeah, it is. It's lovely.
So that was a nice show.
Yeah.
And then we went to somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, we could easily forget somewhere now because we have been to quite a few venues and because you're arriving, you're setting up quite quickly, you're doing the show and then potentially, unless you're doing the other show in the evening, you'll pack away and leave. So I think, did we go from Pershore to...
I literally can't remember where we went next. It's totally blanked.
Well, we've also been to the Theatre Chipping Norton.
We did, and we went to South Hill Park in Bracknell.
Yeah.
Both of which we did both shows in both places.
We've been to Rope Tackle Arts.
Oh, maybe that was in between.
Yeah.
We went to Northern Farm, where we did 4 packed out frogs there. Where else have we? I mean, we've been quite a lot of places because there was February half term, which is always quite a packed week. We went to back to the Horton in Epsom with Dorian, which was a lovely show. Yeah. And it's nice when venues like that, which we first discovered when we were doing our Casting the Runes tour, that this is only our second visit, and we know that we've built the audience from the time before. People who'd seen Runes came back, said they'd brought friends, and that's always really lovely.
Harrogate Theatre, of course.
Harrogate was the most recent. That was on Friday and Saturday.
You reminded me then, because again there were a lot of people there who had seen previous shows, and
Harrogate Theatre has a funny thing where the stage, it's not that funny. There's a few older theatres in the country that have it, but the stage is raked. So the gradient, whatever the gradient is, means that it's got a fair slope to it.
Yeah, it's 1 in 24, isn't it? So I think it's...
I mean, whatever that means.
Yeah.
But it meant that we were slightly concerned that some of our Dorian set was going to pitch forward and fall over, especially the puppets that hang in the frames. But actually, with a couple of little sticky pads on the bottom of one of the main frames, everything was absolutely fine, which we were really pleased with. Cause, yeah. And it was lovely, lovely show. It's such a beautiful theatre.
Yeah, it looked gorgeous in there, didn't it? It really did look.
And those old theatres have this amazing acoustic. So although they're really big, you get someone say to you, well, do you need a radio mic? And you're like, no, because this is actually way easier than some of the smaller spaces that are all lined with blackout curtains,
Yeah, which kind of sucks in the sound.
Yes, so I feel like, apologies to the venues that I've forgotten, but it's been very lovely so far. It's always really pleasing when we meet people who've seen us before.
I think that's one of the nicest things about continuing to tour now is, of course, you always get people who come and see the show because they're interested specifically in that title, which is great, of course. And you always hope that they enjoy it and that it's a good representation of the book if it's one of their favourites. But it's really, really gratifying to have people come up to you and say, we saw you last time you were here, or
in Edinburgh,
or we saw you in Edinburgh, or we saw you a couple of years ago,
or even our friends saw you and recommended you, or our family saw you and recommended you, anything like that.
Or we saw you here and we've travelled to this theatre. It just means so much to have an audience who are seeking you out because of the company, because they enjoy the sort of work that you do, not just this particular show. That's just absolutely, it's just brilliant, isn't it? It's just so thank you so much to everybody who's come along. And certainly if you've recommended a show to somebody, or if you've come and seen us again, thank you so much for coming back. Thank you so much for...
Absolutely. I think that's probably what we've got to say about the tour, really. I'm sure we would have shown you some footage from each of the venues and all that sort of thing. Next time, we're going to be talking about 1984 again, just briefly giving you a little update and showing you the promo image that we've come up with for that show. In the meantime, if you are enjoying the vlogs, please do give us a like, subscribe to the channel, or leave us a comment with any questions you have, and we'll get back to you.